Hi everyone. 1 or 2 minutes late, that's all right. That's good. Awesome. Oh, I've just realised I don't want that on there. Delete. Sorry, I'm just trying to set this live up because it's a repeat live every week, of course. Some of the links are a bit different because I do different things each week, don't I? So I just want to add. It's all right. I'll put it in the comments after. I think. Hold on. Just bear with me. No, I'm not going to be able to do it. Okay, that's cool. All right, I'll talk to you a bit about this at the end of today's Tuesday chat, but it's next week I'm running a free draw-along session over the week. We're going to do three live draw-alongs, so I'm going to run through that. I thought I'd put the link in here for you guys already for the download. Hold on, I just found it. Let me pop that in the comments. Why is it not letting me paste? There we go. Okay, cool, done. All right, so that's in the comments. Okay, is anyone else hot? I'm hot. I'm in my studio. Doors are shut because the guys are outside and they can be loud. I've got the light on me, so hot already, and it's only 9 a.m. But yeah, it's only going to get hotter. So we're in spring, aren't we? So, but yeah, we're having crazy weather here in Queensland. One day it's stinking hot. I think last week we had a 35-degree day, and then the next day it's blowing its what off, and it was only like to be 20. It was crazy. So hi Donna. So yeah, make sure you let me know if you can hear me all right. I'm hoping it's all good. Close. There we go. Okay, so today I thought I would run through. Oh, awesome. Hi Marianne. Today I wanted to talk a bit about the different reasons we need photos as artists. Okay, there's quite a few, and just things to think about as you start to build an art practice. Some of these are for people, of course, complete beginners. You still need photos. But then as you progress in your art career and you do want to then create a website and all that, then there's other reasons that you need photos. So I thought I would just run through that. And then I'll just mention my draw along next week. Okay, so in regards to photos, so this could be either a proper DSLR camera, or nowadays just your phone really is all you probably need. The main thing I know iPhone are bringing out in their newer phones is a better zoom. That's the only reason I use my DSLR a lot. Like, say if I'm going to go to the zoo and take reference photos, because I have a really big zoom lens. Because as a wildlife artist, it's really hard to get close to a lot of animals. So you do need that zoom lens. And the minute you use your any type of phone, zooming in usually creates less pixels or whatever in it. So the quality goes down. I'm talking about iPhones here because that's what I have. But I do know there are some other branded cameras that their zoom, the phones that their zooms are probably pretty good. But I know with my iPhone, if you zoom in, it looks all right when you take the photo, but then when you go to upload it to the computer and you zoom in, say in Photoshop or Lightroom, the quality of it's not as good. So it's always better to try not to have to zoom in on your phone. But I do know that they are working on that because it is people are using their phones more and more for their main camera. So the zoom is the only feature really that is lacking. So that's why I use my DSLR as well. So anyway, the first reason we need photos, of course, as artists, is for reference images, and that especially applies to realist painters, but even abstract painters like to use references anyway. It gives them that idea to get started, and the colors and all of that. So with reference images, of course, there's many places you can go to take them, just out in your local park, in your backyard, of course going to a zoo, down the beach. Just there's plenty of places. Just get outside and start taking photos. And I would use I usually like to take lots. Okay, so one's in portrait, landscape, zoomed right in, of just little elements of what I'm thinking. If I'm putting something together as a composition, I'll get an overall picture, but then I'll zoom up on the little bits and pieces as well. Or you might just take lots of photos of just the way some leaves are laying on the ground, or a fence post, or just you want to build that reference library. So it's always good. I know we can get online and download copyright free photos, but so can everyone else. So if you want your work to be completely original, then you've got to build that reference library up yourself. And definitely I think about the composition when I'm taking the photos as well. So sometimes I'll just take photos of things I like that I think, I might use that in a painting at some stage. But then if I'm out and I can see something that I really want to paint as a whole, then I'll start to look at the composition, and I'll start taking photos using the third lines on my phone, so I can actually set the composition a little bit. So then when I come back to look at it on the computer, I know why sort of that grabbed me. When you're out taking photos, certain things, once you start really sort of taking a lot and looking at things, you'll move your camera and things will just look right. A good composition is just pleasing to the eye, and usually you can tell that straight away, whether it looks a bit off, or whether if you move the camera a little bit this way, it looks more pleasing. So I try and do that as well while I'm actually taking photos. And then, like I said, I just take lots of photos and try and be organised. I'm not very good at being organised. Surprisingly, I think some things I'm organising because I do get quite a lot done. But other things I'm not, like actually coming back and sorting my reference photos straight away into folders on my computer. I usually just download the whole lot into one folder, whereas maybe I need a little VA, hire someone that's really cheap that I can just go, can you take these folders and put them all into, like, farm photos or cow photos or dog photos, beach photos, like really separate them. Because honestly, when I'm looking for a reference image, I've usually got Australia Zoo in a month or something. So you can imagine there's that many photos of different animals. So I have to go through all the photos before I find the one I knew I took and I was thinking of. So that's really time wasting. So that's what I need. Anyone want to put their hand up and sort my images for me? Go ahead. So anyway, maybe that's another one for my daughter. I'm piling heaps on her. So anyway, so that's your reference images. So that's probably your most obvious reason to be taking photos. So the next one is photos of your artwork for prints. Okay, so again, this is as you're sort of starting to move up the ladder, I suppose, and start to want to sell your work more. But it's also really, really good to take a good quality photo of your art anyway. Even if you don't have grand ideas of selling all your work, your work makes beautiful greeting cards and things like that, calendars, things that you could just create as gifts to your friends and family and just have that real special personal touch. So you might not want to sell your work to strangers and all of that, but it's still a good idea to have a good photo, even just, yeah, to give out as gifts. So the best way to do a photo of your artwork is to, if you're photographing outside, you need to wait for a overcast day, because it's then like a huge big light box outside. But ideally that doesn't happen that often here in Queensland. So two big lights, like say the wall behind me, you have it on a wall, or if you are photographing straight down, the main thing is making sure your camera is parallel to the image. So on a wall is good, and then have your camera on a tripod, whether that's your phone or a big camera. A tripod at 90 degrees, of course, to the wall, and lights either side. So that, I think, to get a really clear image is try not to have any camera shake, I suppose. So that's why on a tripod is better. And even if you could set it as a timer, or sometimes you can buy little remote controls to click that come off your phone or camera, and again that avoids any shake when you push the button. So a really crisp, clear image like that. And then you can adjust. It's very rare to not have to adjust in a photo editing app like Lightroom or Photoshop. There's probably some free ones as well, but the idea when you're editing your photo is you're trying to get the white balance and the colors correct, because as close, like you're not, you can of course manipulate the colors to whatever you want. I mean, it's up to you. It's your artwork. You can do what you want with it, but generally you're trying to get your print to look exactly the same as your original. So that's why you do need to adjust in an editing app. It's very rare that your camera would take an exact replica. If you've got a really good camera and your lighting's just right, then you might get lucky, but usually you need to do some adjustments. But so that's taking photos of your work for print purposes, and then again trying to be organized and have them in a separate folder. I'm usually not too bad with that. So you never know, there'll be a time in a year's time you might go, oh, I need a really high resolution copy for that, because I want to put it in a calendar, or I want to make a card, or whatever. So you can go straight back to that folder and find it. It just makes it a lot easier. And usually you want to save them, if you've taken them into an photo editing app, and you can save them as 300 dpi is best for printing. So there's all different ways you can turn it into 300 dpi. I'm not sure if Canva used to be able to change it. I'm not sure if they do anymore, but I know all the Adobe programs like Lightroom and Photoshop, you can. I'll have to have a look and see if there's any free editing apps that does that. Otherwise, just make sure you're taking, if your phone has settings that like usually you have it on a portrait setting, I suppose, and see if you can go into the settings, and if there's a really the highest resolution you want your phone to be taking. I think the iPhones take RAW images. If you can take any in RAW, that's brilliant. That will already be a really high quality image. And raw files are really good for being able to change the colors and stuff in them. The raw files, they have a lot more information in them, so you can edit them easier. Okay, so I'm just making sure there's no comments here. It's all good. Okay, so what have we got? Reference images, then photos of our work for print. So again, that's pretty obvious. And then photos of our work for selling. So whether that's via an online shop, or whether that's through your social media, people need to see, because they're not in a gallery, they're not actually seeing the physical product, they're buying online. People need to see a lot of images. So if you're buying something online, say if you're buying a dress or something, I know what I'm like, I need to scroll through about 50 images to figure out if I want to buy it. Usually it's a no anyway, because nothing online fits me. I need to try things on, but But just think of any purchase you're buying online. If they only had one image of it, you probably wouldn't buy it. You want to sort of see it from the side, the front, the back, every angle possible. So we need really good photos of our artwork to sell online. So usually I've got little tips here that I've written down to remind myself. So detail, right up close, detail, texture. So if you've got, if you're doing work in thick pastels and maybe oil paints, things like that, you can take a photo sort of on an angle and really see the bit of the texture happening in that work. Watercolor paper, that beautiful torn edge, a nice angle photo of that. People like to be able to see things like the texture so they can really get a feel for what it's going to look like. And everyone loves to see brush strokes and things like that to know it is an original and it's like the artist's hand in that. So I'd say an angled one's trying to pick up texture, a writing crop close one, your standard just based on, like, say, one off on a wall like that, one of it framed. So even if you're not selling it framed, you could get one with it framed so that people get an idea of what it's going to look like. But you might not want to go and buy a frame for it, but you can get on, I think it's called Creative Market. There's also some different apps. They put your art kind of in situ, I suppose. So in the situation, so you can add your art to a frame on a wall. Another thing, actually, if you wanted just a picture of it in a frame and you don't have to pay anything, is there's online framing shops. So they will show, if when you're ordering a frame, you can upload your image, you can change the matte boards, matte colors, change the frame, and it shows you in real time as your picture's there. So you could just screenshot it. So you could, I would stick with a very basic frame, just like an off-white matte or maybe a double matte with a pinned color. And then just a very standard basic frame. I wouldn't get too ornate with that, but then I'd screenshot it and then use that image. So you haven't had to actually buy the frame, but you can use that image in your photos for selling. And then it's also really good to have your artwork you'll see the paid ones usually. It's a room, so it'll have the desk, it'll have flowers, it'll have a chair or a lounge room or a study or a kid's room, whatever your art suits. So it actually shows it in the full room. So that's another one to have. So and then like you could have it. So that's I think they call those environment images. Then you could just have it surrounded, like you could have a shot on a table or a nice surface, and you could shoot down on it with, some pretty things around it, some leaves or flowers or things like that. So like as a flat lay. So just try and be creative and think of all the different ways you could take photos of your artwork to make it, you want to up level it. So you want it to give that feeling that it's worth the money, it's high value, and your images will do that. So you don't want to just take an image where you haven't taken any care with it, I suppose, because if your photos don't look like you've put care into how the artwork's presented, it makes the artwork feel a bit lesser, not worth the money you're asking. So it's really important to get good photos of your art if you want to then put them in a shop. And I know myself, I only have a couple of images, so that's something I need to work on as well, because I do think people really do need at least, you want at least up to 10, I would say, 6 to 10 different images. So you've got to get creative and think of all these things, but just think of what you want to see as a purchaser. If you were buying a piece of art, what would you want to see, like in the photos, to make your decision to buy it? So, but and also I think you need to. I always rush everything, so I'll take a photo here, a photo there. You need to set time. So I'd set a whole day aside and say, right, this is my photo day, and I'm gonna maybe have 3 or 4 different pieces of artwork and just spend the whole day mucking around, creating really nice, nice sort of situations for your art. And also, like I said, you can get these things online in apps and stuff. I just can't remember. There is an app that I found that is a really good one, but it does cost money. That's the only problem. So, but if you're selling lots of art, you could probably, I think you can pay monthly. I think it's a subscription. So if you got all your art together, and then just subscribe for a month and used all of the room photos and that, and then unsubscribe, and that way and then you can just subscribe again when you get another lot of artwork together. But yeah, so that's a reason, of course, for taking photos, for selling your art on online, or social media, of course. So on social media, I think Facebook and Instagram both. I'm not too sure about Facebook. I know Facebook can link to your shop, but I think Instagram, just you can create a shop straight on Instagram. I'm pretty sure. I haven't really looked into it. So that's another option as well if you want to start selling. There's ways that you can be online selling with not having to pay a fortune for online shops. But even if you wanted to sell through Etsy, you still need really good photos. That's another place you could probably go to and just look at shops that are like selling a lot of art, like really popular ones on there, and just have a run through what photos they've got, because that'll give you some really good ideas as well of what's working, because like especially how many photos they're showing, the different types, whether they've got some nice detailed shots, and just how they're looking, the brightness, usually your lighting needs to be really good. But there's some art, they're selling prints more than originals, but they're just selling thousands and thousands, so it's obviously working. So here we go. Yes, Di, thanks for that. So there are some free editing apps. Editing, I was saying editing your photos. Di's put up Snapseed, Adobe Lightroom as an app. I think there is a free version, isn't there? VSCO and Pixlr. All right, so check them out, because like I said, it's very rare when you take a photo that you don't need to do some editing. And also, I was going to get into the next one, was stock photos. So stock photos are more like flat lays that I was saying before, where you might have your art there with some pretty things, some brushes, some, if you do watercolor, you have a watercolor palette. As pastels, you'd have some pastels laying around, a few, tools of the trade, things like that. You could do, so I've been playing with watercolor to put into my, to draw on top of, but I've been taking photos of these before I do drawings on them. Like this little one's got one little drawing on there, and I am putting 2 more little, what I've gone blank, 2 more of these birds on here. But before I do, I'll take a photo of just the one, because they might make really nice background images. So these are your stock photos. So if you're building a website or creating flyers, or just a lot of times you need a background image that is just a hint of something. So you might have text on there, but you want something in the background, you just don't want white or just a plain color. So stock images are really good to take lots of photos as well. So like I said, using, yeah, just pretty things, you know, you might have bits of pigment or candles or sticks or feathers or something that relates to your art and what you do. So as a nature artist, you might go and find some mushrooms maybe, or tree branches, flowers, things like that, just to sort of lay around. Shells is another one. There's so many things that you could think of, but I think as artists we do collect a lot of stuff. I've got a box full of feathers, I've got a box full of shells. Um, so, and yeah, just arrange those, take ones. Think about the fact that you might be putting text there, so you might want you know, the things arranged here, but you want a blank space here. So just taking lots of images, yeah, ones you can, yeah, like I've been doing with watercolor, just throw some paint around, take a photo of it. You just never know when you might need that background image, especially mainly I find I need them a lot for creating websites and pages, and also a flyer. Usually I want something in the background. Even a social media post, you might want to put a quote or something up, and it's nice to have your own stock image. And then you can also, I know in a lot of the apps, and even on your phone actually, they do filters. So if you want to convey a mood for your art, you can just throw a filter on all your photos and then it makes them appear similar, and it's the whole same sort of theme. So there's so many things you can muck around with in Lightroom, especially. You can just change the sort of values, make things a bit moodier, or if your sort of theme is really bright, your style of art, you can brighten them right up. And then you can save that filter and use it on all of your images, then all your stock images. So I'm not talking about your artwork images, these are your stock images. So yeah, there's so many ways we need to take photos, or reasons to. Um, yeah, so all right, what else did I have here? Oh, of course, and finally, with photos, you need photos of you, yourself as an artist, and I hate being in photos. So, believe it or not, I hate photos. I think most of us hate being in a photo. But even entering art competitions, sometimes they want a photo of you. Social media, of course, we're all going to have a photo, a headshot. There's so many things that we need photos of us. To build your social media following, people want to relate to the artist, so they want to, it's good to have photos of your hands or something in there, but they do like to see you as well. So you don't need to do just a face-on headshot. You can do ones of you working just from the side maybe, or even from behind, you know, cropped parts of you. You could be a bit blurry and your artwork is in focus. So there are ways that you don't have to, they can be flattering images, they don't have to be just of your head. But a good way would be to hire a photographer actually. To get, this is next level though, this is when you're really starting to want to become a brand and really sort of elevate your art and sell it, like have a really professional looking website and all of that. So so you could do it yourself, or you hire a photographer, and they come and you want photos like of you painting, of course, just your hands maybe holding brushes, or a hand shot of you with a handful of pastels, or your hands covered in pastel as a pastel artist, or paint if you're just all different things, because these can all be used on your website just in little, you know, little subtle corner bits. You might have an image of you holding some pastels, and some text here. There's so many different things. You drawing, like I said, you could have it with you a bit blurry and the focus on the painting. You do need some headshots, unfortunately, especially if you then start to get into media. They're straight away going to need photos with you in them. But lots of photos of your equipment, what you use, your studio. I don't have a nice studio. I'm trying to make it nice, but it's in a garage and it's not great. The lighting's shocking. So some people I know, when if they're going to the expense of hiring a photographer, they'll go to the expense of hiring a space as well. So depending on your vibe, sort of thing, your style, a really old house, a really, beautiful old done up house that you can hire, where it's got beautiful light and windows and gorgeous frames and old doors and maybe ornamental corners, like things like that, you can hire for the day. It probably doesn't even need to be an old house. You could get creative, something that's gonna look beautiful in photos. And then of course you need to stage it all and take all your stuff there, but this is like next level stuff. But it's something to think about if you don't think there's anywhere in your house that you could get some good style photos, then maybe you look at hiring space. And then lastly, I think that was all the photos. So reference images, photos of your artwork, especially for prints, so good quality photos. Then photos of your artwork for selling, so all different angles, and make sure the customer can really get a good feel for what they're buying, because they're buying online and they're not seeing it in person. And then stock photos that you can use just building your website, and then photos of you again for your website and social media, all that sort of stuff. And the other thing was, make sure you're taking all these photos in landscape and portrait. Okay, so always make sure and do zoom in, zoom out, or make sure you're up or walk in, walk out. You don't have to zoom in. Okay, so just make sure, if you're going to the trouble of setting all this up, take lots and lots of photos and make sure you have the two different ones, because of course our portraits are used all the time in, say, Pinterest posts, Instagram posts. Landscape used more for your website, blog posts maybe. Your Facebook can do both, but there's so many ways that we need to take good photos as an artist, as you're building a business. But even, like I said, as a beginner, you still need to take good reference images. So, and that might be as far as you bother, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but you still need to well, I always say, as an artist, we kind of need to be photographers as well. It's kind of a combined creative process, being a bit of both. So, all right. So the only other thing I just wanted to mention, I'll mention this one quickly, but I haven't shared a post or anything. But this is a collaboration of all my lovely Creative Barn Premium members. And we've put together this gorgeous planner full of everyone's artwork, and it's a weekly planner for 2024. Okay, it's absolutely gorgeous, but these aren't in stock yet, but they are coming soon. So once they are, I will make sure I share around if you do want to grab one. All my members don't grab one. You already. My premium members know how to get theirs, but for anyone who isn't in my membership and you want to get a planner, I will share some links for that later on. Okay, so now next week, starting Monday, is my draw along. So we're going to do this gorgeous cat here I've got a better photo of him here actually. So this is him here. Isn't it beautiful? So if you want to join me, I'm running it inside my public Facebook group, which is Drawing Wildlife and Nature Beginners to Advanced. I should have put the link here. I'll put the link up. You'll find it on my page here anyway somewhere. I'll make sure I've got it up in the featured section. So you just need to get into that group. So you just click on any link that you find and go into that group. Actually, if you click on the link, I did put a link in here in the chat to download this. And if you follow that link, there's a link to join that Facebook group as well. Okay, so I'm just going to run it. It's Facebook Lives. So just in that group. So Monday night at 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard, we're going to start off and I'll show you how to transfer the line art, and we're going to block in. And then we're going to have a break on Tuesday and then Wednesday. That way, we're going to have a break between each session, so anyone who needs to catch up can, anyone overseas, of course, on different time zones, can catch up. So we have a day off, then Wednesday night, same time. We're going to do those beautiful eyes and nose, so we'll do the features. Another break on Thursday, and then Friday night, we'll finish it off with all the fur. And there's short fur and long fur in there, so I'll demonstrate how I do all that. And then by Friday night, the end of the session, hopefully we will have a finished portrait. And then you'll have another day off, and then Sunday, the doors to the Creative Barn membership are opening again. So you'll have an opportunity to have a look behind the scenes. I'll take you in there and show you around, and also I'll do a Q&A and answer any questions about whatever. So if you scroll to the top of the chat here, this is there to download. So it has, that's just about me. You're not interested in that, I'm sure. Oh my God. So it's just got the schedule there, so you know sort of what's happening when. It has a little setup, so just showing you how to get set up ready for Monday. And then it has the equipment list, so that sort of tells you all the extra things. And then over here I've got some photos of the pastel sticks that I'll be using. It's just a light, medium and dark grey. And then I've gone through and worked out what pencils I think I'll be needing for this one. Okay, so those pencils are they're all Stabilo Carbothello soft pastel pencils, except I've got a General's white charcoal. I do find the General's white charcoal is good for whiskers. And then also, of course, you'll download the reference image and you'll download the line art. Okay, so if you want to join me on for the lives, or if you just want to, you can watch the replays, of course. Get hold of that guide there. I've got posts everywhere with the link for that guide, but again, it's in this chat as well, right at the top. So that will set you up with everything you need to get started. So make sure to grab that before Monday. And then don't worry about the line art. I'll show you how to transfer the line art on Monday night. So if you know what you're doing, of course you can already transfer the line art and get ready. But if you don't worry, I'll step you through that as well. So because it's in that Facebook group and it is Facebook Live, the recordings are instantly available. Okay, so if you join 5 minutes after the live's finished, you'll be able to watch it from the start. So don't worry about recordings, they're all there. And I'll keep them up in that group till the 15th of October. So you have a whole week after our week of drawing. You then have another whole week to catch up if you want. Okay, and that's when the membership will be open for that whole week. Okay, so I think that is it for this Tuesday chat. I haven't seen any other questions there, but yeah, so hopefully, I know a lot of you guys will be joining me that's watching this live because you're all members. So you guys, of course, the recordings will go inside the membership, so you'll have forever sort of like the access. As long as you're a member, you'll have access there, so not a problem for you guys. Yeah, and I think that's it. If you did have any other questions or wanted to comment about if you had other ideas of why artists need to take photos, there's so, like I said, there's so many reasons, but they're all the ones I could think of that we would need photos for. But definitely throw in the comments your tips or ideas, or again, like I said, if you've got any questions. But yes, I'm gonna go and do some drawing. Actually, today I'm drawing, so I'm getting our next tutorial finished off for next month for the membership. So that is, I'm gonna sit down and do it because I keep putting it off. So hopefully some of you guys get to do some drawing or painting today. Otherwise, I'll see a few of you guys tomorrow for our creative play session. I'm going through the 5,000 I took this morning of animals. That's awesome, Marianne. See? Yeah, you need lots and lots of photos. And I find when I take lots and lots of photos, I take a lot of blurry photos. So even if I take 100 of them, there's usually about 10 good ones anyway. So, but all right. Okay, guys. Well, enjoy your day. And I will talk to you all later on. Bye.